Hi gang, Rob here. It's the morning of 1 June 2016 and I have a From the Sharpening Bench video for you all this morning. We're looking at an offering from a relatively new brand in the world of modern folders and fixed blades. This is a steel will Gekko 1500. First, just a little bit about the company and what they offer. Steel Will is an American-owned brand. They have a product line comprised of modern folders and fixed blades with manufacturing done in Italy, like this one, and then some Chinese models also. I believe their intent is to have some knives produced in the United States as well. If I had to characterize them, I'd say they're kind of like a young Spyderco. Don't produce any of their own knives at this point, and they've sourced them with makers that they like across the globe. This one, of course, is made in Italy, in Maniago, by one of those companies, or that company that that exists in the same place with different names. Is it a Lion Steel? Is it a Viper? Is it a Bastinelli? I don't, who knows. What it is, though, is a pretty cool knife. Maybe a Viper. I don't know. Fox. I don't know. It's a Maniago knife. It's a lockback, traditional style lockback with a rocker lock bar, a notch in the blade tang, and a tooth at the front of the lock bar that snaps in. Very luxurious, very secure feeling lockback. No play in any direction. I have an adjustable pivot. I believe the knife is on washers. I did not take it apart, but it doesn't feel like ball bearings to me, which is a good thing. Superb action, as you can see. Very little effort required to deploy the blade. Nearly a free dropper when you release the lock. Let's talk about the blade and work our way back, shall we? The blade is fashioned from Bowler N690 steel, which I think is an interesting choice. Kind of a large knife, 3 15/16 inch blade, 5-inch handle, steel liners with micarta, green canvas micarta scales, about 5/8 of an inch thick. Blade's about 140 thousandths thick. I actually measure it at 136. So it sort of looks like it would be sort of a camp knife if you just looked at the handle, the shape, the materials, the 6.4 ounce weight. But what I find interesting is the blade shape. They call it a drop point. You could almost call it a modified spear point with this top swedge, rounded spine, flat grind from about 70% of its height down. I've seen other videos on this knife, and I've always sort of thought that's an interesting choice. This outdoorsy looking handle with this tactical looking sexy Italian blade. And frankly, that's made me shy away from it a bit. It doesn't look like a tactical knife to me because of the handle, and it doesn't look like a woods blade to me because of the blade shape. Not that you would baton with a folding lock blade, but you kind of expect on a woods blade for the spine to be pretty straight, full stock thickness to the top, and a square spine, just in case you'd want to strike a fire steel or something with it. So it sort of struck me as a knife without an identity. Having said that, I digressed quite a bit. Let's get back to this blade. Let's forget the identity crisis the knife has and just look at the blade. The grinds are all super precise. It's kind of interesting. It's actually got 2 swedges. One here at the back of the spine, and then it transitions into this swedge that goes to the tip. The grinds are very symmetrical, very well done, with the exception of one area. And you can see this knife has had its choil extended to facilitate sharpening. Got to be super careful about that because the closed stop pin contacts the blade in the choil when you close it. So if you're going to do that mod, you got to be really careful, as I was with this one. It came out real nice. N690 steel. What we know about it is it takes a super keen edge, and when it's sharp, it cuts like nobody's business. I mean, this stuff cuts. It almost reminds me in its the way it sharpens up and the edge that it takes and the way that it cuts. It sort of reminds me of a softer CTS XHP or an improved VG10. I guess I'd say it acts a lot like Sleipner. Very rust resistant. Just a super well made knife blade. When I see a knife blade cut like that, even if I have some aesthetic issues with it, it wins my heart, and this one certainly has. If I didn't mention it, the weight on this knife is 6.4 ounces, which makes it kind of a chunk. I don't know that I would EDC this blade. Maybe it is a camp knife. It certainly could function as a tactical knife. It's got a great traction plan. The jimping on the ramped spine is super effective. It's very Spidey-like. It is not painful, but man, your thumb hits it and it is not going anywhere. Certainly, this blade shape is made to pierce. A great all-purpose tip, not so fine that it is delicate, but it's not so bulbous that it won't cut or pierce. It's just very nicely done. I just love the mechanism, by the way. You hear the sounds that it makes? Here, let me do that without talking. It just sounds solid as a bank vault, like the door of a Rolls Royce. What do we do on blade centering? Quite nicely. Pocket clip on this knife is, well, frankly, it reminds me a lot of a Spyderco clip in the way it looks and the way it performs. It is tip up, right or left hand configurable. Golf course clap. With the lanyard hole built into the back spacer, which it might be titanium. You guys look that up. At 6.4 ounces, I guess it could be steel, it could be titanium. I don't know. Wait, let's see if it's magnetic. Let's see if I got anything. I don't know. And these knives are going to run in the high 100s, which I guess is kind of where it ought to be given who makes it and what it's made of. For you lockback fans who want to buy something besides a cold steel and you don't need your knife to hold 500 pounds of weight hung from the blade while it's open, this is a really good option. The lockback mechanism is a little robust, engages a little more deeply than the Japanese produced Spydercos, and kind of hard to tell on video, but the mating machine surfaces are super precise. It's almost hard to see where lock bar starts and blade spine takes over. I mean, rock solid, no blade play. Really, really well done. Let's talk about these ergos. In the saber grip, the knife is just awesome. In a hammer grip, the whole hand is full. There are no voids anywhere when I wrap my hand around this knife. The handle's plenty generous. Look at all that butt I have sticking out of my hand. If I go to draw cut, again, it's just everything where it ought to be. Can you go reverse grip? Oh yeah. How about that forward pinch? Again, superb. Man, what a great camping food prep knife that would be. That vertical draw cut. The handle just sort of hits my hand wrong a little bit, but it's not painful, and man, it feels very powerful because of the pressure being applied. You know, you grip the handle here, and when that pommel sort of digs into the pad of the outside of my hand, it just forces that knife through the work. It's nice. I think I saw a Crockett 20's video on this knife, and I was watching it and listening to him talk about it, and it wasn't connecting for me. As I looked at the knife visually, I thought, man, that thing looks stupid. But Crockett goes on and on and on, and he's raving about the knife, and I really didn't understand why. And I'm very glad that my customer Chris sent this in for sharpening, and that I had time to take a video of it, because guys, do not rule this knife out because it doesn't hit your eye right, because it's really, really nice, and boy, can it cut. I mean, boy, can it cut. Thought you'd like to see it before it heads down to the Republic of Texas, where its home lies. That's all for this one, my friends. Grace to you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. And remember, the Word and Chris's Gekko are sharp.